have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Machine men with machine hearts and machine minds. And really, that's what we're going to be talking about. But when we talk about machine men with machine minds, it's not just men. It's women too. It's a subclass, okay, of human beings, of our species, that truly and honestly believe that through technology and the infinite resources they possess, the monopoly on technology that they possess, they will use a thing called transhumanism to enslave the population, and not only enslave the population, but make them euthanize themselves in many cases with the promise of their consciousness living forever in a digital wonderverse, a metaverse, if you will, of infinite possibilities, just like the multiverse. Metaverse, multiverse, really, in my mind, an interchangeable phenomenon that a lot of people have not connected. Now, with that being said, many people still have not connected the other aspect that is part of the enslavement agenda for the vast majority of us via transhumanism. And that, of course, is the push for transgenderism amongst children. Because number one, when you go with the youth, that's all they know. It's an indoctrination program. It's very meticulous and purposeful. Okay? But number two, you erode parental rights and traditional family units that throughout history have proven to be the strongest of units because of the inherent love and caring for one another biologically. Okay? That's one end of the spectrum. These machine men with machine hearts and machine minds. The other end of that spectrum is, as they do this, they get to experiment on the populace that they have enslaved biomedically through dictates, authoritarianism, all right? And of course, their post-truth world great narratives that can no longer be challenged anymore because hate speech is hate think. The AI is the ultimate truth and reality, and nothing else matters. You need to clamp down on all of those who would oppose this ideal set as white supremacists, domestic terrorists, and extremists. Okay? And through that, you're going to have this class of people that just, every time, do whatever you want to me, take my DNA, implant me with whatever, inject me with whatever. And they believe through a combination of nanotechnology and incorporating that into biomimetics, that's what they're calling it, biomimetics, they can biologically live forever. They won't be uploading their consciousness after euthanizing themselves to a digital wonderverse because they know that's not real. Okay? They absolutely 100% know that's not real. But the push is for an idea called mind clones and mind files. And one of the people that pushes this the most, whether you know it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not, is, in my opinion, the most powerful transgender man, or woman, woman, transgender woman, man to a woman, on the planet. On the planet. Period. Nobody else has published more material on the subject, has put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, on the subject, okay, and pushed forward in a multitude of technologies. No one's even close in that sphere of transgenderism like Martine Rothblatt. In fact, Martine, who we're going to show clips of this ABC, The View, of course, puff piece from 2016. In 2016, Rothblatt was kind of getting you ready for it, almost on tour a little bit to kind of put it into people's minds. You got to realize that this is now 7 years ago. Like 7 years ago, more than half a decade ago, at the Transformers conference. And it also needs to be reiterated again and again and again. This is also the author of From Transgender to Transhuman, a manifesto on the freedom of form. Okay? The blueprint for all of this. And we're going to let Martine, in a lot of cases, speak for themselves. I've got a ton of clips lined up here with Rothblatt. The beginning focus will not only be on Whoopi Goldberg fawning over Rothblatt 7 years ago in this ABC The View piece, but this thread that I retweeted from a guy named Paul Rossi. Okay, it's at the top of the thread. The other ones, for some reason, it gets tough to, even when I click on these, it has the same URL because they're in threads, and I can't download them as easily, so we'll play them directly from Twitter. But here Rothblatt talks about it, and, basically talks about this data of consciousness. Oh, look at Whoopi just yucking it up. So this is a great thread on transhumanism and Rothblatt in particular. And the other thing that goes with this, okay, other than just transhumanism in the sense of human beings, is the automation of human beings leaving. There's a story out there, we're going to play the video a little later, that I totally missed from last week, but it does not surprise me, because despite regular human beings, critical thinking people, not wanting this at all, and when I say this, I mean that robot dog. You know what? Maybe we'll just play this one too. I got another Twitter clip, but since it runs in the background anyway. Los Angeles City Council approves robot dog donation to. Oh, it's a donation. Oh, thank you. Oh, they're valued at a little more than $250,000. By the way, Spot retailed in the beginning for like $70,000. Now, it wasn't that long ago, and I know there's inflation, but $70,000 to $280,000. First of all, who cares? I don't want robot dogs patrolling my streets, but they're working humans out And they're trying to work humans into what? Into digital slavery on every angle, whether it be your monetary system or your entertainment system. See how that works? And along the way, you know, you had your work from home idea to again get you used to basically, you know, clicking at best. You're a clicker at best. You're doing things maybe the AI can't, or you're doing things with the AI from home. Man, all those mass comm degrees and 7 years at college to get them don't sound so great, do they? How about that? Let's just play this really quick.
Let me introduce you to the robot dog nicknamed Spot. It costs nearly $280,000. The LA Police Foundation wants to donate Spot to the LAPD's Metro Division. The robot stands about 28 inches tall, weighs 70 pounds. It can climb stairs, open doors, and navigate rugged terrain. Spot is equipped with 360-degree cameras, so it's able to collect information about its surroundings and create a three-dimensional map of an area. Now, a real police officer controls the robot using a tablet, but at yesterday's...
For now, don't think that these things aren't going to become autonomous. For now.
LA City Council meeting, people from groups like the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition say they're afraid Spot will only be used in poor neighborhoods to spy on and harm black and brown communities.
The fact that you've had to move it twice since is a testament to the fact that the community members don't want it.
These robots are used to target and surveil black and brown folks. They're used to do violence.
All right, see, now notice that person and like some other people here at LA County, and this is why you don't want to live in a place like this. That's why you don't want to live in a place like New York, are still severely mentally ill. So, I mean, they're traumatized beyond belief. They're wearing the mark of the moron at this point. And you know what? I still see it, but it's one or a couple out of everybody else wherever I go, at least here in Iowa. But I know that's not the case in LA. And here's the thing, young lady. I hate to tell you, doesn't matter the color of your skin. They want it for all of us. I'm so sick of the division. Wake up. Wake up. If you're all about one group of people, white people, black people, Asian people, Latino people, people of color, you're out of the game. It's them versus all of us. This is the new civil rights movement. That robot don't care about the color of your skin. It's a robot. It gets programmed. They're going to care about your socioeconomic class. They're going to care about how much energy you use. They're going to care whether or not you bend the knee to every authoritarian dictate out there. That's what they're going to care about when there are dozens and hundreds and then thousands and then millions of these things in our country controlling law enforcement. The whole defund the police movement, that was to make way for this. To get people so damn angry and upset of the explosion in crime that's no longer handled by people, which it should be. We want a human element in law enforcement, folks. Trust me. You want somebody that has a thing called empathy. Empathy is not an abstract idea. It is an inherent human trait for the vast majority of us who are not sociopathic and psychopathic. It's important. Let's go back to this clip before we go to our first break here really quick.
You know that we're not going to see Rover pedaling up the streets of Brentwood or the Palisades. This is going to be deployed in areas where we blow up fireworks semis.
And by the way, I do want to say this. That might be the case, but those dummies already have private security robots. It's not quite Spot, but it's not quite human. We'll be back right after this break.
Folks, we have a huge problem on our hands. A banking crisis is spiraling, and it's all thanks to the current administration's reckless spending, sky-high inflation, and massive interest rate hikes. Now, these banks are suffering, and guess what? They can legally seize your savings without notice to bail themselves out. That's right. Thanks to a sneaky law passed back in 2008, it's now legal for banks to take your hard-earned money, including your retirement savings, to save themselves. Now, this could leave your retirement accounts decimated, and you paying the price for their disastrous policies. Take action now before it's too late. Now, this guide will show you how to defend your money and keep your retirement savings safe from the banking crisis and the current administration's financial fiasco. This simple and 100% legal strategy may help you protect your retirement against higher taxes, soaring inflation, and a volatile economy. So don't let your golden years be ruined by someone else's mistakes. To secure your free wealth protection guide and safeguard what's rightfully yours, don't wait. The time to act is now.
All right, we are back. I do want to remind everybody to thumbs it up, subscribe, share. The second hour is free over at rvmrumble.com. That's right, the second hour is free, uncensored. There are a few words we can't use in the first hour and things we can't talk about in the first hour. However, I will be on the Low Value Mail podcast tonight. It's funny. I just saw that... For those that don't know what low value mail is, it's Danny from Danny and Ryan Long has those great videos. I mean, they've culturally impacted the world. When I say culturally impacted the world, really this country, but I mean they're global. I know people watch that stuff in Europe and over in Canada. They're funny guys, man. Like Danny, probably my favorite one is where Danny is this kid, and he's got like the little beanie with the propeller thing on, and Ryan Long is playing like his super liberal mother. And it's over the top, but it's great stuff. But anyway, I follow him on Twitter, and I saw that he just basically said that a guest had canceled. What should I do about it? It was really early on, so I said, hey, why don't you just have me on, and I'll talk about the Elon Musker nuts and how he's not your buddy, pal. And he's not your guy, friend. And lo and behold, last night, Danny contacted me. He said, hey, you want to do the show? I said, yes, I do. So tonight, let's hope that we blow little minds here. I always see, doing this stuff is cool, guys. It's cool. Like, I'm lucky. And people that I admire, that bring me joy in my life, that make me smile, right, without me even knowing these people, I get to interact with them on some level sometimes, out of nowhere, right? That's a big deal, right? That shows you, we talked about, I think, the law of attraction the other night on Richard Andrew Grove's podcast, okay? And that's Grand Theft World, 7-hour podcast. Him and his partner rip it up. They play a lot of clips, but very, very long podcast. I did about an hour of it, which I'm sure I'll probably repost a little later this week. But we talked about the law of attraction and how it actually works. And a lot of people became familiar with it via The Secret and vision boards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the truth is that although that's part of it, like your vision board is, you have to work towards those things. You have to see opportunity when it comes. You have to understand every opportunity that comes up and that you try to gravitate towards isn't going to come back at you. But persistence is key, right? And then make the most of that opportunity, right? Like that's what I've always tried to do in my life is every time that I've met somebody, whether or not, it's in a social situation or a business situation, I try to make an impression in the sense of who I am and what I'm going to do is genuine. And I think that whenever anybody's rolled the dice on me, whether or not it's a success or a failure, the bottom line is, I definitely gave it my all and my effort and put I guess, exactly what I said I would, or more towards it. Because, success doesn't come easy. It wasn't an easy ride to get here for you in the morning of Red Voice. It's not going to be an easy ride for Red Voice Media that now is doing almost 12 hours of broadcast and has a brand new office, right? It's not easy. You got to get up in the morning and grind, man. It's a long day. It's a long, long day. You got to make sure you're not going to be replaced by the robots and automation and AI and robot dogs. Again, I know that you guys watched yesterday, or perhaps you caught where we were talking about the FDA and the Muskernuts coming together. But this right here, other than the bearded gentleman or gentlewoman or gentle whatever at this point, the rest of that is all AI. Obviously other than the text. So I actually, again, the AI only kind of reads into what's on the screen. So I brought in the bearded lady man, and because I guess I just don't even know. Non-binary, who knows? Who knows? And I typed in, I think, just either transhumanism or transhumanist something. And that was one of the options that came up. Obviously looks pretty decent, almost poster level. But gave me the background and the foreground, the whole deal. And I'm sure I'm going to be using AI all over for my thumbnails now. Because with a lot of my thumbnails, whether we're with the direct person in the beginning, but a lot of the backgrounds, obviously I fish out from Photoshop, I mess around with a little bit. Now I don't even really have to do a Google image search. If I'm just looking for a background or a scenery, I can generate one. And that's only going to get better. I have this Marky Picks clip I also might want to play today. Maybe we'll play that in the second hour. But this guy's a verifiable genius. And if you don't know who Marky Picks is, I don't blame you. You'd have to be kind of like a dork like me. But I think he gives some of the best reviews and comparisons on cameras and what they do and how to stretch your budget, lighting, just really great tips. And I'd been watching him probably like half a year because he's a smart guy. And he's got similar taste in clothing, bad taste in clothing like myself, likes the brash stuff. I've seen him wear a little bit of a affliction here and there. We're old school. So I thought, maybe the guy's a little bit older than me, quite a bit older than me. A product of Hollyweird back in the day, but also a prodigy. And not only a prodigy in filmmaking and things like that, but like a biological scientist prodigy. Like did all these books and tours on nutrition. And then on top of that, he's like a photoreal painter and painting things that were surpassing the professors at the time in school and painting them in a day or two. And incredible paintings. And he just sits there, and again, maybe we'll play this in the second hour, and he says, nobody cares if you can paint at all. He's like, no one, he actually shows that he has a coffee table book, a bunch of paintings that he did, and he actually says that he doesn't even really enjoy it. He doesn't even really like the painting aspect. You can tell he really loves making film, right? And he loves taking pictures. But he not only talks about how nobody cares about those things because they're just bombarded with these, hyper crazy, cool looking images that is just scrolling past and no one's taking the time anymore, which is true. But he also said with the deep fake technology and all this technology becoming commercialized, it's going to be even harder to figure out what the truth is. And he goes, in most cases, I don't think people are going to care very much. They're just not going to care about what's real and what isn't. And to me, that's kind of a product of this manufactured post-truth world that we're all living in. Okay? All right. I want to start because if we don't start now before the second break, we're never going to get there. And we're going to miss out on a lot of these clips. But we are going to try to fit in as many as possible in this first hour. So this is the thread. I won't play the whole thing from ABC and The View. We'll play the The first one, I think it is. I'm pretty sure that's what we got right there, up there. Consciousness software. Yeah, first one right there. A 1-minute clip of this, because, The View will come after me. ABC, I'll get another copyright strike. I mean, it is so hard to play clips on YouTube and then claim fair use, even if they're shorter and you're commenting on them. So without further ado, here's Whoopi and Rothblatt back in 2016 yucking it up about transhumanism.
They're looking towards the future. Martine developed an AI robot, Bina 48, as the first steps towards keeping loved ones' legacies and memories alive.
So AIs are people too, okay? The only difference is they're people without skin.
AIs are people too. No, they're not. That's an outright lie right in the beginning right there. AIs are people too. No, they are not people. No. They are software. All right, they are data. That's what they are. They are a shell. A shell of what a person actually is or is constituted by.
Our videos of ourselves, our pictures, our chats, our tweets, all of this stuff will be combined together with a new kind of software called mindware that will be an operating system that works the way the human mind works.
Oh my God! What? Well, like, where's the challenging question? Stop. Full stop. They're not people, too. What do you talk? They're not people, too. It can't be people because they don't have consciousness. No matter what they tell you, not only do they not have consciousness, this idea that somehow non-carbon-based life, right, is going to be better than the carbon-based life. Listen, transistors in your computer fail. Hard drives fail. The only thing that won't have to be replaced on this, super robot avatar of consciousness, right, these beings we're supposed to create eventually, is the data itself, because data can be moved. Because guess what? It's just data. It's not consciousness. It's not what we might call a soul. It's not even close.
Is it here already?
It's coming very, very quickly. You see it in Bina 48. You see the beginnings of it.
I mean, I'm very excited to meet you.
Thanks. You are a nice person. Whoopee.
Thank you.
Whoopee. Whoopee. You are a nice person. And just the fact that Bina 48, talk about weirdness and narcissism and all that other stuff, is based in Rothblatt's wife, whom Rothblatt married before the surgery and has children with and stayed together with, by the way. It's also at the apex of Rothblatt's religion, Terrasim, which I'm sure we will get into a little later. I don't know if we'll get into it with Whoopi. Whoopi.
Whoopi Goldberg, one of the most famous female comedians in the U.S. Whoopi Goldberg is also known for her dramatic performances in the films The Color Purple and Ghost.
I'm going to say goodnight now.
Goodbye now.
Woo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! The dark cartoon is here. And, would that be, I've got the, let's just go to the software part of this. And Rothblatt's going to explain the software angle of this, what it really is.
The rate of development in computer processing, hardware, firmware, and software has been advancing along a curve such that by the 2020s, as we saw in earlier presentations today, there will be information technology that processes information and the world around us at the same rate as a human mind.
So, obviously, we're in the 2020s now. I would argue we are there 100%. We're seeing that with just some of the developmental AI tools that are becoming commercially available as well.
And so that being so, you're actually getting ready for this world by believing that we will soon be able to actually take the contents of our brains and somehow preserve them forever. How do you describe that?
Well, Chris, what we're working on is creating a situation where people can create a mind file. And a mind file is the collection of their mannerisms, personality, recollection, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and values, everything that we pour today into Google, into Amazon, into Facebook. All of this information stored there will be able, in the next couple decades, once software is able to recapitulate consciousness, be able to revive the consciousness which is immanent in our mind file.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog beds.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Boom! We interrupted that commercial. Use that promo code RVM. I do want to remind people the second hour is free over on Rumble. RVMRumble.com is where you can find it. Make sure to subscribe to the RVM network over on Rumble. Myself over on Rumble. So you heard it from Rothblatt right there. We're going to go down the line and play some more clips. But this mind file idea is, again, not you. It's not you. It's never going to be you, no matter what they tell you. And the way that the transgender aspect of this fits in is, again, to disassociate you and your consciousness, whatever you want to call it, what makes a human, okay, with their biological reality. All right? Because that's very much who we are and how we develop as human beings. Or anywhere else in nature. Anywhere else in nature. Where you have mammalia. Or organisms that have two sexes to produce. Because, you know, there are those organisms out there that do reproduce, that are asexual, etc. Yeah, the organisms. They're not people. There is a biological reality. That is part of who we are, inherently. Every time. And they want to take that away. And further down the line, take you away from any type of spiritual thought or human feeling and convince you that data and an algorithm based in a digital wonderverse or some type of avatar is the same thing. It's not. Okay? It's not. And Rothblatt is at the forefront of this. So let's go down the line to this great thread by Paul Rossi. I wasn't able to rip these clips, so we're going to have to play them right from the Twitter. Thumbs up, subscribe, and share, everybody.
As we begin digitally uploading our mind and having digital twins, or what we call cyber-conscious versions of ourselves, the choices and the options are going to become even more complicated. Also, the benefits will grow as well, but it never stopped people. People always were willing to accept the problems that went along with the benefits. We like cars, but we have like tens of thousands of people that die every year in car accidents. We accept that because we like cars. We're going to have a lot of emotional pain by having a digital twin.
We're going to have a lot of emotional pain by having a digital twin. Now, Ray Kurzweil, who is the author of several books on transhumanism, some might even call him one of the godfathers of the transhumanist movement, or although you go all the way back to cybernetics, right? You can go to Hans Morvik. There are other authors on the subject. He penned The Age of Spiritual Machines in 99. He also did the foreword to Rothblatt's book Virtually Human from 2015. Now, in 99, he went on a tour, if you will, and somewhere I have these videos. I didn't queue them up for today. I've got plenty queued up for today that we haven't gotten to yet, and who knows whether we're going to get to them. But he talked about this mind clone idea, this other Kurzweil that, he talked about it that someone could even scan your brain while you were asleep with non-invasive tools, all right? And you wouldn't even know that you had a clone out there, and then basically gestate it or place it into a gestated other being, this other Kurzweil. And he said, look, I might have a problem with the fact that this other Ray is younger than me, or that he's going to live forever and I'm not. That is an issue. And at least he acknowledged that then. He also acknowledged the fact that he didn't necessarily believe that the beings we create will actually be conscious, but he believed that they will be so persuasive that they will make us believe that they are having these quote-unquote spiritual experiences and are in fact conscious. So there's going to be a lot of emotional pain, but we're just going to accept it, says Rothblatt. Let's just roll that back a little bit.
We have like tens of thousands of people that die every year in car accidents. We accept that because we like cars. We're going to have a lot of emotional pain by having a digital twin, but we'll accept that for the benefits of being able to process twice as much reality as we can do when we're just one mind doing it. To give you an example, you'll be able to do, say, 3 interviews at the same time of different people. It'll be great content from all 3 of the interviews. Each of the, say, 2 digital twins of yourself will brief you, we'll give you the Cliff Note version. We'll brief all 3 of you the Cliff Note version of how the interview went. You can stream it, you can watch it. You may be a little bit slower, your digital twin's a little bit faster. So your mind will literally expand. Face-to-face.
Oh, yeah. Your mind will expand when there's more yous doing more things, when most people don't even do much. Now, I want you to think about that aspect of it. Do you really believe that this is for you? like for the average person? Especially for the person that they're grooming for the future, somebody on a UBI, somebody that doesn't even work 30 hours a week, if that, somebody that's just kind of around. You're going to need 4 of you to stream and watch the interviews? Huh? Yeah, I mean, these things are ludicrous. Or the idea that somehow your digital you is going to brief you. Your digital clone you. Now, the real question is, because, listen, that part of it will more than likely actually become a reality. We've talked about this. AI replacing Holly weirdos is one thing, but real-time AI clones that are either controlled by a person or avatar that's then done over Running Man style in a lot of ways is already here. We've seen some of the mega filters on Instagram. We're not that far away from whatever. But we've also seen the introduction of social media and even regular media personalities that are fully digital and AI. And again, this is what they want, because then you don't have that empathy of a human being or somebody going rogue like a Carrie Lake, right? Carrie Lake on television as a trusted news source for many, many years, challenges the system during the COVID-19 84 nightmare, runs for office, and in any thinking person's brain is completely and totally cheated. They don't want that aspect. They don't even want to have to cheat somebody out of an election, right? So this idea you're going to need 4 of you for a day, like, oh, I cancel so many interviews that I can't be a part of. That's not real. Now, I can't make every interview. And maybe one day I'll hit the level where I'm going to have to cancel all the time, but I'd rather do that than let my digital avatar take over for an interview. That's not me, man. It's not me.
Face on a screen, and then with a hologram. And then I don't know if you've seen like the Bina 48 robot that we've built. And so they'll be physically instantiated sooner than you think. You'll be able to live like 2 lives in the time of one. And that will cause stress, that will also cause benefit. And the psychologists are there to help you with the stress.
Oh, the psychologists. Because you know what? The psychologists, especially as of late, have really had everybody's best interests at heart, putting people on SSRIs and psychotropic drugs. Oh, the psychologists will help. Don't worry. Ooh, the psychologists. I mean, get out of here.
The other thing is like more people, more options, more social collisions, and that's the job of lawyers. A lot of people like to knock down lawyers, but they kind of forget before there were lawyers, things were settled with swords and arrows. And lawyers are there to prevent us settling things with swords and arrows.
That's actually a really true and astute point. Okay? So, not just swords and arrows, but all sorts of other types of weapons. And that's why they use lawfare so much, because it protects them. Now, many of these people are not ignorant to the fact that there are people that would wish to do them physical harm, and that's why they have armed security, and they don't want you to be armed. But we have turned into a society where very much lawfare is part of this 5th generational warfare. And in a separate clip, which I have, and we are probably going to be playing in a moment, Rothblatt admits that it's going to be the lawyers that eventually give these beings rights, period. Yeah, no, they're going to get rights through lawfare. And look what's happened with children and transgenderism through lawfare, right? There shouldn't be a need for Ron DeSantis or anybody else to put the ban hammer on permanent sexual surgery of kids, of people under the age of 18, whose brains are far from fully formed. I mean, that shouldn't even be a thing. Again, think about it. We've got laws in this country now in almost every state where it's 21 to smoke a cigarette. The alcohol laws have always been 21, at least in my generation. I know the generation before also 18. But if you can't consent to either of those, which may or may not have, life-altering consequences in the heat of the moment, how in the hell are you supposed to consent to the other thing? So they've already utilized lawfare in a whole lot of ways. Let's get into this next clip from Rothblatt right here.
And one of the things I'm super, super happy about with the millennial generation is I see so many people coming out as gender non-binary, which is in the apartheid of sex. That's why I called it the apartheid, is like in that book, I say there really is not just 2 separate genders.
So just understand the apartheid of sex. That's from I believe that actually is that a separate book? We'll look it up in a minute. I'm pretty sure that that's from transgender to transhuman. Okay? And that's just a different title for it.
There's a million different genders. And now I've got friends of mine saying, oh my God, I don't know what to do. My daughter is saying that, she doesn't want to be a girl and she doesn't want to be a boy. And I said, well, so what? I mean, I say, love the person as they are. Love the person as they are. Why are you, it's their life. You've got your life. Why are you trying to impose like a particular gender on either, whether it's your son or your daughter or your offspring?
So again, going after the kids right there. The apartheid of sex. Let's see if we can pull that still right up there. I want to see it. A manifesto of the freedom of form. Okay? The apartheid of sex. Let's type it in. Rothblatt. The apartheid of sex. Is this the same book, or is that a separate book? January 17th, 1995. It is a separate book. Wow, that one is even before Unzipped Jeans. See, you learn something new every day. We're going to come back, final segment of the first hour after a word from our sponsor.
Have you heard of Executive Order 14067? This little-known order implemented the digital dollar, the most sinister plan to control your spending. And it gets worse. In November, the federal government and banks began a test program to roll out the digital dollar. With this, privacy for all Americans will be lost forever. Imagine, the government can now track all of your spending. The government can tell you what you can and can't buy. The government could confiscate your cash. When digital currency was rolled out in China, Bloomberg wrote, quote, "This will lead to control like no other," end quote. The EU has announced that they are next, but it is already happening in America, which makes this wealth protection guide that American Alternative Assets just put out even more urgent. Project Hamilton, as this secret order is being called, might be the scariest order to happen to privacy and freedom in America since its founding, which makes this wealth protection guide so incredibly valuable right now. Move your money out of cash and into something that doesn't infringe on your privacy. You see, there is one legal IRS-proof loophole that could protect your IRA, 401k, and pension savings with gold and silver. And this free guide tells you exactly which steps you need to take right now to move part of your IRA or 401k into precious metals with no tax consequences. As this program rolls out, the sky's the limit for the level of government control that could be enforced on your money. Protect your savings and your privacy. But in the devastation ahead, American Alternative Assets is offering you something rare, a chance to protect your wealth and possibly even grow it.
Now, I want to reiterate this. No human being can be a number. Non-binary is not a thing. That's a movement, again, to get you into the idea that you are technology, that you are the robot, that you are the avatar, that you are the data, and not the person, not the consciousness. So like I said, man, you learn something new every day. I was unaware of this book by Rothblatt. 95, and this also shows you how long the predator class will wait, how they will slowly and incrementally introduce these ideas into the public arena. Because when I saw the apartheid of sex, a manifesto of the freedom of gender, remember, gender ideology, very new. Very new. And then you see that from transgender to transhumanism, or transhuman, is a manifesto on the freedom of form. But what I want to reiterate here, as we go to the book, okay, it is that right here, you know, again, apartheid is one of the first things, if not the first thing, that is actually brought up in this book. Billions of sexes. What is male and female? Are genitals but the tip of the iceberg. Okay? So right here in the forward, okay, they talk about apartheid of sex. All right? And just incredible to me. I missed that in this because I skipped the forward and I went, I believe, to what? What is it? The, let's see. The apartheid of sex and dreams from my father. Like we bring up the Obama stuff in this, in the forward. That's probably why I missed it. Here, let's go to South Africa, because that is the point. Why did it go to so? Yeah, exact matches. All right, right here. In the future, labeling people at birth as male or female will be considered this is on page 8 of this, as unfair as South Africa's now abolished practice stamping black or white on people's ID cards. Excuse me? So I guess this is right in the forward of the book. So who is this by? Harold Brackman, PhD, the Museum of Tolerance historian. Oh, the Museum of Tolerance. And again, their patients. This book is from 2011. 2011, 16 years after what? Apartheid of Sex, a manifesto on the freedom of gender. They're going for it. They're going for it. And from there, I'm going to bring up these two clips, which I'm probably going to interrupt from time to time. And this is Rothblatt at the Transformers Conference in 2016.
Is also the recipient of this year's Billie Jean King Leadership Initiative Award, which is devoted to LBGT issues, and puts her in an interesting issue because she has a company, or part of the company is based in North Carolina, which, as you know right now, she might get arrested for going to the bathroom if the governor had anything to do about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Martine Rothblatt. Martine, one of the basic concepts that you're interested in, it's not just improving life, but it's actually immortality, that we're all going to live forever. And Martine, I might mention, has founded a religion, as one does, known as Terrasim. It's based on transhumanism. And you have the idea that we're not just going to live a long time, but we're all going to live forever. Tell us your concept of immortality and how that actually would work.
Thanks, Neely. It's a great pleasure to be here. The idea is one that has been percolating up from lots of people in the information technology industry for a while. Perhaps Ray Kurzweil, who is a prolific inventor, is best known for the idea that as our abilities in the information processing industry, computer software, storage of more and more of our thoughts and our ideas outside of our body becomes easier, more automatic, less expensive, that ultimately we're going to have sort of digital doppelgangers of ourselves that are stored in the cloud and are able to present themselves to any manner of devices. And that as thousands and thousands of software coders and hackers and people in the maker movement work to make the software that runs these digital doppelgangers ever more lifelike, ever more human-like, there'll come sort of a tipping point when people begin to claim that these digital doppelgangers have achieved what we call consciousness.
And remember, it's not necessarily people, although people like Rothblatt will make that claim, right? Because they've already made that claim. They made that claim when they said they're just people too. They're also people, referring to robotics and programming and data. Okay? Kurzweil argues that it will actually be the entities that we create that are going to be that convincing. And again, we've already seen that come into the public arena with the Google whistleblower, who just also happened to be into the occult and chaos magic. You know, that guy who got let go. They said it was like working with another human being, and basically he treated it as yet another employee. So yes, there will be people that advocate for this, but at the end of the day, they tell us that the advocation will come from the beings we create themselves.
An ability to have a sense of themselves, hopes, fears, and feelings. And at that point, I think the activity will move to the legal arena as to whether or not these digital doppelgangers really are conscious, really do have an independent legal identity. And kind of the trend of progressive thinking is once there's a scientific consensus, and in this case, it would be the science of psychology.
Notice how psychology works into all of this? A scientific consensus. When is there ever a full-on scientific consensus? Yet another term that we have to be ever more wary about, and as you can see there, founder of Sirius Satellite Radio, among other things. It's a technological powerhouse. So it's right there. Through lawfare and psychology, which is remember, we're at a place right now where it's peace for health and health for peace with the UN and the World Health Organization and all that bull snap. And trust the science. If you want a Huxley-esque existence, good for you. You zombify yourself. Stay out of my business. Right? And that's why, this technopoly is nightmarish. We played the clips of Howard Scott, the founder of the technocracy movement in this country, founder of Technocracy, Inc., advocating for what? The sterilization of the population through means in which we essentially poison the water and air supplies or food supplies. Gleeful about it. Gleeful about it. These people hate humanity, act like they want to duplicate it. No, they're trying to replace it. They're trying to replace it through lawfare. And they're trying to enslave the remnants of it through their science and their psychologists.
That being the science of the mind, that these digital doppelgangers are in fact cyber-conscious, then they'll begin to acquire the sorts of rights and protections that we assign to even our pets, laboratory animals, and to quite a high extent to primates like chimpanzees. And so in this way, ourselves will kind of morph into a sort of digital consciousness that is recognized by the law.
Yeah, we're going to recognize you're morphing into a digital consciousness by the law. TD, I appreciate that tip, brother. I really do. He says, with deep appreciation for the great lengths you go to share truths. You are intelligent and you care. I care, man. I care. I may not be the smartest guy all the time. I may not get right all the time. But the bottom line is, we're talking truth here. I mean, it's right in your face. Again, apartheid of sex, a manifesto on the freedom of gender, unzipped jeans, taking charge of baby making in the new millennium, mind clones, psychology is the new science. It's essentially going to eliminate humanity and empower the AI. No frickin' thanks. Sorry. No thank you. With a big no-no. I'm going to start this next clip where the gentleman next to her asks whether or not this is eugenics. And remember, in this book, Rothblatt downplays it. They talk about the positive eugenics, the good eugenics, as what? Transgenics. Transgenics. Let me say it again. Transgenics.
And I think very quickly we'll get to a point where we say that that cyber-conscious individual has a soul. It's Neely's soul. And even if, God forbid, Neely's body ends in a car accident or some other death and disability, Neely did not end. Neely's identity continues in this cyber-conscious form.
Let me ask you one more about sort of the frightening aspects of this, because there would be some people that none of us want to live forever. Hitler, for example. Nobody wants this guy to be able to upload, right? So where do you get into sort of eugenics was a real thing in this country? In other words, 20 years, 80 years ago?
No, 20 years ago still too. This is 2016. It's still going on in the 90s. Still going on now. Hasn't ended. Been rebranded. All right, we are at the end of the first hour. I'm going to come back briefly to YouTube and say goodbye after a word from our sponsor. And a sponsor that I actually use, it is IPVanish.
We love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything you do. Take control of your online privacy with IPVanish. People with malicious intent are everywhere, watching you, Criminals can hack your Wi-Fi, while broadband providers and advertisers monitor your data. With IP Vanish on your device, your internet activity is encrypted. No one can see what you're doing. Your location, your connection, completely hidden. Protect your internet privacy today with IP Vanish.
Okay, everybody, here's the deal. If you're watching on YouTube, now is the time to come on over to rvmrumble.com. That's rvmrumble.com. You can get 2 bonus interviews, Jamie Deluxe and Richard Andrew Grove, this week. It's already up there. If you go to redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. You like what I do? $10 a month, $100 for the year. Try it out for a week for $1. You get all the other premium content as well. But like I said, we're giving you 2 awesome interviews on top. So with that being said, YouTube, I love you guys.